got another theory on the developmental cycle of these idiots. This whole thing about switching the conscious and subconscious, and the theory that the subconscious develops first, probably isn't anything. No. You know, the autonomic process take over and the inability to perform voluntary tasks. They have to have the tetralead to negate that. Clash of instincts and morals. They don't have a superego. Their ego and superego are just a mess. They're neurotic. The word's neurotic. They're fucking weird. They don't have a superego. Loss of discipline and self-control. They don't have discipline or self-control. Distorted perception of reality. They believe stupid shit, and everything is subjective because reality is a distortion. It's not real. Okay? Think your idiot friend that thinks life's a simulation. Psychological struggle with anxiety. Okay? Difficulty forming relationships and maintaining social connections. Loss of a sense of self. They have no identity. Some idiot on my Facebook, not my Facebook, on my DA account randomly commented and was like, I think that's the id and super ego and everything all together. No. Those things, the super ego is strictly good. It is completely separate from the ego. If you have a fully developed brain, you can tell the difference between the two. This person can't. So they don't know right from wrong. But they also, once again, sense of self. They have no identity. Think about the guy that started this church. The guy that thinks this psychology is the superior one. Think about him. He wanted to replace Jesus. But he himself is not Jesus. But he was going to replace him. And that was the whole idea. And that's because he was envious. There is a developmental stage in children. And remember, this shit feeds into emotionally stunted again. There is a developmental stage in children where they imitate adults around them, and they will pick an adult and go, I want to be that. My theory about Blondie and all of his horse shit, stealing the wives and wanting my glory, is he wants to be me, but that is something he can't be because he doesn't have an identity. And this shit kind of feeds into the stuff where I was literally talking about them murdering black people and then replacing them. That's not a joke. That's something they do. So here's a theory. What if they keep these imbeciles in this state until they find a person to replace, and then they replace them? And then they go, I'm that guy! and then everybody runs like, no, you're not that guy. Okay? Because you can't be somebody else. And in these guys' brains, once again, they're insecure, so they have to prove to you they can. Blondie has to prove he can be me. I can do it! I can! And dude, I just picture him, like, being like, I'm poor! And he's living with the fat, rich wife. And he's like, has all the money in the world. And he keeps going on about how he's a poor guy and he doesn't have anything. And he's like living in like super rich California. And everything's fucking easy for him, and he's having sex. That's another thing, because these people in the contract under, I can't have sex, but he's having sex with the wives nonstop, and he's like, I'm Bobby, and it's not me, because it's an amalgamation of who he thinks I am, and his primal urges, because that's what the subconscious brain is, it's primal urges. He's a baboon. He's a baboon that is envious of man, and wants to be man, but can't, you know, This shit even feeds into, I remember, dude, the healthiest thing for these malignant narcissist fuckers would be to be told, you're jealous, you're envious of everybody, because you don't have an identity. You don't. And remember that shit with even the blue-eyed guy, where he was like, we are not that, we are not that, and he's just screaming it, and then I was like, what are you? And he just stared at me. I don't think these guys have a real identity. And I want to talk about this. There's a debate tactic where you're a liquid, and the whole thing is to not be stapled down. You never state anything. You go, you get your news sources from garbage, blah, 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 blah. And then you go, okay, where do you get your news sources? And they, because then you'll dismantle them. And I'm a liquid. I'm gonna convince you I'm right, but I'm also not gonna get pinned down and proven I'm wrong. And you're like, great, you neurotic weirdo. Like, I would argue distinctly this whole switching your subconscious and conscious minds does exactly that. The person is a liquid, and they probably shift just as violently and just as quickly. An example of this is Blondie's classism at Papa John's, and how he was like, I'm not okay with you having the rich wife. I'm not okay with you having money. I'm not okay with you. Going on about that, and then later he came back and was trying to signal he cared, but then admitted he didn't care, and then said he... I would argue that is the first step in the whole, I'm going to replace that guy. I'm going to be him when he can't. Okay? I have other ideas outside of stopping the church. It's only the church that's hung up on me stopping the church. Okay? There's a million other ideas. Once I'm dead, those ideas are gone. Blondie will never have them because he's not me, because he's an imbecile. Okay? Like... for real. In his brain, he'll be like, I'm going to open a church that helps people, and it'll be the same church he's at where he just hurts people and then tells them it's good for him. I'm helping, I'm helping, I'm helping, I'm helping, while he's punching people in the face. He's like, I'm Bobby, I'm helping. That's not how you help, dumbass. You stupid fuck. That's not helping, that's hurting. And this feeds into other weird things Blondie said that were all hurting people, but then in his brain, he was helping. This is how you help people. Because once again, they're emotionally stunted, and emotionally stunted babies only know one thing. They hurt you. They cry as much as they can until you figure out what they want. Okay? And this stuff actually makes perfect fucking sense to a bunch of the weird shit Stu, Fred, Gannon, and dude, they're liquids. Like, the whole conditional love. He'll be like, I act like this guy for the rich fat wife. I'm way into fat chicks. I love fat chicks. And then he's with a skinny chick. And he's like, I'm way into skinny chicks. I'm way into skinny chicks. And then he's like, the rich people don't like me, but they're so cool. They can buy all the toys. Now I love rich people, and I hate the poors. I hate the poors. I do. Somebody love me. Somebody love me. Like, how do you... What? It's not just disingenuine, apathetic behavior that comes from these people. I would argue they themselves are begging children that don't have a direction. Like, they want to kill everybody. They don't want anything to change. They don't understand shit, for fuck. Everything's emotional, and then on top of that, like, they don't even stand for anything. Blondie doesn't stand for shit. He'll just fucking change. Like, watch, I guarantee you, after I'm fucking dead, after these assholes kill me, like, that vandalism shit failed. I'm pretty sure everything I do. It wouldn't surprise me if the entire police department down here is actually their church members, and that's why they're refusing to arrest me. That's the real fucking truth, is this shit's completely fucked and rigged. I think that's the truth about these people. And I remember this shit even talking to this guy that was like, I'm an identitarian, but then he didn't have an identity. And it was as if these people couldn't tell you what's important to them. And this feeds into the blue-eyed guy. Once again, we are not that. What are you? What do you do? You murdered the belly girl. You murdered my friend Ray, and you murdered a bunch of women, and then you're going to tell me you're not the bad guy? What are you? What are you doing? Explain yourself. And dude, I'd argue you could probably you're screaming at a child, because you could probably put the blue-eyed guy to a bed and start drilling into his feet, lighting him on fire, gouging his eyes out, and mutilating him, and he could probably never answer that question because he himself doesn't have an identity. The only thing he probably knows is everybody else is wrong. He's like, socialism's wrong. Communism's wrong. All those things are wrong. And you're like, okay, what's important to you? And then he just goes, Answer the question. No. I mean, Blondie was extremely adamant that he absolutely hated poor people, and he made that fucking clear in everything he said to me at Papa John's. That's not a joke. And it would be funny to me if all of a sudden he was like, I love poor people. I do. They're the best. I love them so much. And you're like, why did you say you hate? I never said that. It's subjective reality. I can change my narrative at random. This isn't weird. My sister's dumbass boyfriend, he was actually one of these people. I'm just going to call him on it. The fucking loser he is. He couldn't make good arguments for fucking shit against me, but then would get agitated. And even my sister spoke of him because he liked dressing up like a woman with fake tits. It was as if in his brain, like a small child, like there's a whole point when you're a child and you'll be like, when I grow up, I want to be a dolphin. It makes no sense. Okay. I would argue these people are that much of a liquid that they just see something and they're like envious. I want to be that. And there, like I said, with little kids, there's an entire stage where they just start imitating somebody, adult behaviors. I remember my cousin Will imitating my uncle Bill, like the way he sat, the way he gestured, all of his movements, verbatim. He imitated him. I've been babysitting before, and kids. I don't know what it is about me. I guess it's my maximum genuine meter. I'm just so genuine as a human being that kids naturally will start imitating me when I enter a room. They just fucking absolutely love me. Like, and I draw the distinction that it's the same thing with these creatures. And I'm willing to bet in Blondie's brain, because once again, he has to prove it to you. I have values, I have them. And it's like, no, Nietzsche said, get rid of your values. So you don't have values. If you don't have values, you don't have anything to adhere yourself to. Okay? Values are important because they are a form of your superego, like a physical manifestation. What is important to you? And this is the heavy question I guess you need to ask yourself before you can even be considered a man. Blondie did everything he could to get the church unfucked. And even the shit with the wives, when they were telling me he's not like that. He is like that. I know, I experienced him firsthand. He does not care for human life. He doesn't care for anything else but himself. Everything he does is a virtue signal. He couldn't be a good person if he had to, because he doesn't know what that is. Once again, the closest thing this creature has to a superego is the clash of instinct and morals. Unconscious mind is driven by primal urges and desires, meaning he thinks like a baboon, okay? While the conscious mind holds morals, values, and social norms. Switching their roles could lead to a conflict between these opposing forces. He's neurotic. And all of them, Stu and all these fuckers, are neurotic. They're fucking weird, okay? Loss of self-discipline and self-control. Yes. Okay, hands down, yes. And obviously distorted perception of reality. Blondie can be other people. It's possible. Like, no, it's not. It's not how reality fucking works. I don't know what drives. You gotta be a real arrogant prick to think the natural order, you switch the conscious and unconscious minds. It'd be like, okay, so God's original design, the way things were naturally set up, those aren't good enough, so I'm gonna change them. Once again, you're fighting with the maker at that point. Okay? Like you're an imbecile, you're an amalgamation. Like, I don't know. I find this psychology stuff fascinating. I'm kind of trying to distract myself from my failure getting a fucking court date by committing a crime, so I guess there's that. Fucking, yeah. I don't know. That's where we're at with this.